You've probably heard the quote, "Life really begins at 40." It's often thrown around like a feel-good slogan, but when Carl Jung said it, he meant something deeper, something psychological, even spiritual. Jung wasn't just talking about getting older. He was describing a turning point in human development. According to him, the first part of life is mostly about fitting in. We build careers, families, identities. We play roles. The good student, the loyal partner, the responsible adult. But much of this is shaped by other people's expectations. Society tells us who we're supposed to be. But around age 40, sometimes earlier, sometimes later, something shifts. Jung believed this is when the second half of life begins, not because of age alone, but because our focus starts to change. We begin asking bigger questions. Questions like, who am I really? Is this the life I want to keep living? What have I left unresolved? This is where the process Jung called individuation comes in. Individuation is about becoming whole. It means integrating all the parts of yourself, your strengths, your flaws, your passions, your pain. Not just the version of you the world sees, but the deepest self you've maybe ignored or denied. For a lot of people, this shift isn't subtle. It can feel like a crisis. Jung actually saw midlife crisis not as a breakdown, but as an opportunity, a wake-up call. It forces us to reevaluate, to dig beneath the surface. We might feel lost at first, but that's often the start of something more honest and meaningful. And here's the key. Jung didn't believe the second half of life was just about decline or settling down. He saw it as a time for expansion, growth, true maturity. Because once we stop performing for others, we finally have a chance to figure out what we want, what actually matters, what's been missing. Maybe you start painting again, or you finally leave that job that never felt right, or you begin speaking up in relationships instead of staying quiet. You start choosing authenticity over approval. That's not regression, that's evolution. Jung also talked about the shadow, those parts of ourselves we hide because they're uncomfortable, unacceptable, or painful. Facing the shadow is hard, but it's essential. It's how we grow. The more we avoid it, the more we stay stuck in patterns we don't understand. But when we bring our shadow into the light, we begin to heal and we begin to see ourselves clearly, maybe for the first time. So when Jung said life begins at 40, he wasn't being cute. He was being real. Because this is when life can start to become your own. You've done the survival phase. Now it's time for the conscious phase, the purposeful phase. And no, you don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to be willing to look within, to ask hard questions, to listen to what your deepest self is trying to tell you. Because if you do that, if you lean into this transition instead of running from it, you might find that the second half of life is where your real story begins. Not the one you were handed, the one you write for yourself.